For anyone who identifies as being a part of the LGBTQIA community, it's very challenging to tell their family, friends that this is who I am, this is my reality.
My biggest advice is take your time and do it when it feels right. But this is our story.
Yes.
And so today's video is about
Coming out. Hi guys, this is Adi.
and this is Amit. And if you're wondering where Adam is, he has the day off and he's taking a nap.
Welcome to our channel.
All right, guys, before we get into our next video, we just want to say thank you to everyone who's reached out to us on YouTube and Instagram and all over the place.
Yes. No, but thank you everyone, and please, if you still haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications. It's very important for us to know that you are liking the content we're producing, so we keep producing more.
And let's get into this video.
Yes, let's do this.
So I came out to my parents in 2017. I was 31 at the time, and Adi and I had been dating for about 8 months already. Anyway, I actually introduced my mom to Adi even a few months before that.
Yes, as a friend.
And that's what I planned that because I wanted her to meet him and like him first. I wanted to know what that interaction was like. So my mom, I was living in New York City at the time, so my mom had come to stay over as she has work to do in New York all the time. And I said, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. And I wouldn't say it was a plan, but I knew that this was the right sort of opportunity. I casually just mentioned, hey mom, I think I know who I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so she responded, who is she? Right? She'd been waiting for this moment forever. And I was like, well, what if I tell you it's not really her? And she's like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, it's Adi. And she's like, okay. And we went back home and she was very upset and she's like, are you sure? Like, is this something that you really want to do? Like, you should always expect questions, right? And expect sort of unreasonable questions.
Right, because we deal with it internally for so many years,
Yeah.
and one day you just tell your parents, and of course they're not going to be okay with that. We weren't okay for so many years when we were figuring it out.
So anyway, I think the turning point, and it's an emotional point for me where I realized like I have the best mom in the world is when we were sitting there and she reached out to me and she just put her hand on my hand and I was like, okay, like this is gonna be okay.
Yes.
And I knew that she was gonna be supportive.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment. And it's a moment that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Of course.
Can we pause for a second?
3 hours later.
So we are back. He got a bit emotional, which is valid. It was a huge point.
It's more like when you realize
Yeah.
like how lucky you are.
Yes.
That's all. Anyway, so I told my mom, and that was my story to come out to my mom.
Dad.
Another day, my parents came to the city, and we decided that we would just grab dinner together. So
I was
three of
not
us-
there. It's mom and dad and Amit.
So we were like, hey, we love Mexican food. So we went to a Mexican restaurant and, we ordered a couple margaritas. And, if anyone knows my family, we like to have a good time. So, when we go out, my mom loves, it's like the one thing she'll drink is a margarita. She doesn't really like too many other things, but she'll have a margarita. It was funny because my dad asked me, he was like, so Amit, like you've been in New York, like you're not dating anyone? And I was like, oh God, here we go. This is the moment, right? Because what am I gonna do now? Hold back? I'm like, Dad, it's not what you think, right? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, all right, I just wanna let you know that I'm dating Adi. And that's how I said it.
Yeah.
And he just said it. Like, if this is what you want, I will help you tell the family and I'll always support my son. So because this was like such a big deal, I feel like he handled it well, right? And like he
did.
He didn't show his emotion. He didn't put his emotion out there like that.
Right.
He just was like, all right, I'm gonna support my son.
So it's my turn to share my coming out story. So actually, I tried to come out to my mom in the year 2011, and I was visiting India in 2011 when I was still in Chicago. And I sat down with her and she goes, so when do you think you'll get married? And I was like, Mom, I'm still studying. Why would I think about getting married? And she goes, are you gay by any chance? I'm like, what? And I was so nervous. I said, "Oh no, of course not. I'm not." And then she was like, "Okay." And
She said that?
Yes.
And you never told me that, really.
No, but that's the thing, right? Because she says she never said it.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was the first try. Take two. This is 2014, actually.
Yeah.
One day I came back from work. I was really low because I think something was going on at work. I was feeling really sad, and I was actually thinking of moving back to India at that point. So I asked them, "Can I move back?" They were like, "Sure, come back." And at that point, I was like, "What if I also share one of a really important thing in my life which I've never told you?" So I'm on the phone and I'm gathering up this courage to tell them. And my dad goes, "So what do you think your job opportunities, how are the job opportunities in India with respect to what you studied?" And I was like, "Oh, I was going to tell him, but now he's asked me a different question." So I think the conversation kind of drifted off, and I never had
Again,
the
conveniently.
yeah, I never had the courage to bring it back again to just tell them that I'm gay. And now we are in 2017. Amit and I are in India for the first time together for his best friend's wedding, and we actually sat down for a dinner with my parents.
Yeah.
I introduced him as friend, and we go back home, and my mom and dad are like, "Oh, he's a really nice kid." I'm like, "Yeah, he is a really nice kid." And I don't know why my mom goes, "I can't wait to see who you both marry." And I'm like, why would she say that? I really think my mom always knew, and she was dropping these hints.
But don't they say that
Moms always know, parents always know. Yeah,
especially
I
moms.
think so. I think so. Well, back to the story. This is 2018. Amit has told both his mom and dad. And at this point, actually, a very good piece of advice my mother-in-law gave me was, she actually said to me, "You're usually very confident, but this is something like a band-aid. You just have to rip it off. You cannot just keep thinking about it, because the more you think, the difficult it'll get." It was Jan, the second week of Jan, and I actually called my mom and dad, and I said, "So I have to share some news with you." Amit was sitting next to me, and he was holding my hand because I was very nervous, because I knew this is the last take. A third time was the charm, clearly.
Yeah.
And I said, "I have to share something which I have not told you for 30 years. I'm gay." And there was silence on the phone. It was on speaker. And my dad said, "But how? How? Why didn't you tell us?" My mom was still quiet. So I was like, "What is mom saying? What is she doing?" And she was like, she said in Telugu, she said, "Ala ela Aditya." And that actually means, "How is this possible, Aditya?" And I was like, "Okay, so let me tell you how this is possible." And I told her throughout my life what I felt when I was 13, 14, and how every time I tried to tell her. And it was a conversation for about a good 30, 40 minutes. But my dad actually said something. He said, "It's okay, we'll figure this out. It's going to be okay." Actually, in both our cases, our dads were like, "Okay, that's fine."
Right.
And he was trying to console me and tell me that it's okay, you will be fine. We will figure this out.
We have different difficulties. The difficulty of my situation is that my parents are right there. The difficulty of his situation is his parents are not there.
Yeah.
So both situations were different, but difficult in their own way. I think there's so many things that we don't talk about, and I think people should talk about them and should always have someone to talk about.
Right.
But I think coming out and making this whole dramatic thing, I don't really believe in that. I think we took the time to get to know our
He
families.
was 31, I was 29.
Yeah.
So guys, that was our coming out story.
And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button so we can make more content for you. We're totally excited to do that. So please subscribe.
Yes, please do. And hit the bell icon too.
Yes.
Yes, the notifications, the bell icon. And please let us know in the comments what you thought about this video.
We love hearing and seeing your comments, and we're responding to them all the time. So please comment.
And Diwali's up next, so we're trying to plan a very special video for that. And we would love if you could share what we could do for Diwali. And this is it. This is Adi, Amit, and Adam somewhere playing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you guys.
See you next time.